The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Could you state and spell your name, please, for the record?
Jason Davis, JASON DAVIS.
And Mr. Davis, what is your relationship to Jennifer or Joseph Rosenbaum?
I am a professor at Clayton State University, and they were students in my course while at Clayton State University.
And what course was that?
They were in several of my courses, criminology, crime is entertainment, a couple other courses. But the latest interaction I had with Mr. Rosenbaum was criminology course.
Okay. And did you have any occasion to meet his foster daughter?
Yes, we were working on a directed studies course, which is a one-on-one correspondence course. And we would meet during the semester, and on one of those occasions, he brought his daughter to my office during one of our meetings.
And do you know about when that would be?
It was during the fall of 2015, so it was towards the end of the semester, so it would have been late October, early November when we would have met.
Late October or early November of 2015?
Yes.
How did the daughter appear to you?
From my recollection, she was very quiet and shy. She may have had like a book or something with her, but she allowed us to conduct our business. There was nothing that really stood out, and she was just very quiet and shy, similar to other students that bring kids to the office. She was just very respectful, very quiet and shy.
Did you see any bruises or abrasions on her?
No.
Did you see anything on her that would alarm you?
No.
Or that alarmed you at the time?
No, I didn't.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Good afternoon, Mr. Davis.
Good afternoon.
My name's Marina Andrews. I believe we spoke a few weeks ago.
Yes.
You indicated that you saw this one child for about 15 to 20 minutes?
That's correct.
Okay, nothing stood out to you.
No.
And you wouldn't expect an individual to abuse a child in public, would you?
No.
Okay. You wouldn't expect an abuser to parade a child around in public with injuries such as what's behind you in State's Exhibit 1, would you?
No.
And you would agree as a professor of criminology that abusers have no specific look?
No specific, I'm sorry.
No specific look. Abusers could come in any race,
Yes.
gender, color,
Yes.
intelligence. You were never at the home of the Rosenbaums, is that correct?
No.
Okay, and you have no information to provide us with as to what happened on the night of November 17 of 2015, do you?
No.
Thank you, no further questions.
All right, thank you. You can step down.
Judith Davis, Judith Davis, Davis.
And what do you do for a living at this point in time?
I'm retired.
And where are you retired from?
Henry County DFACS.
And what kind of, do you have occasion to take classes as a DFACS worker?
Yes.
And what kind of classes did you take?
I took CPR.
Anything having to do with child abuse?
Yes, and drug use.
And were you a mandated reporter?
Yes, I was.
How do you know Jennifer?
She was a foster child that I did mostly transportation and supervised visitation.
With her and who?
With her and her sister Summer.
Okay, and whose visitation was with whom?
Between the two girls, it was visit for the girls.
Okay. Did you befriend Jennifer and Summer?
Yes.
And has that friendship endured?
Yes.
Did you ever attend a party at Jennifer's house?
Yes.
What was the occasion?
It was Malik, Summer's little boy's birthday party.
And did you see Jennifer and Joe's foster girls there?
Yes.
Tell us what you saw.
I saw a little girl running around, and another little girl a younger, about 2, in a high chair.
And did you see any marks or bruises on these children?
No, I did not.
And if you had, what would you have done?
I would have reported it to Henry County DFACS.
How, if this party was Malik's birthday, do you recall what day it was?
Like the date or a day? I believe it was a Saturday.
Just the month?
It was in August.
August of 2015?
Yes.
And at that time, how were the girls acting towards Jennifer?
Oh, fine. They were eating when I was there. They were eating cupcakes from this, from the party.
Okay, and how was she acting towards them?
Fine.
Anything about their behavior that caused you any concern?
No.
Did you see any cuts or bruises or anything on girls at any point in time?
No.
Thank you, that's all I have at this time.
Ms. Andrews.
Thank you, Judith. Ms. Davis, how long were you at Jennifer and Joe's house that date in August of 2015?
A very short time, maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
10 or 15 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't expect physical abuse of a child to occur in public, would you?
I'm sorry, what?
You wouldn't expect physical abuse of a child to occur in public?
No.
No. Okay. And you wouldn't expect someone who's physically abusing a child to show you the child's bruises, would you?
No.
And as working in DFACS, you were a mandatory reporter?
Yes.
Have you seen injuries such as this in turnaround, States Exhibit 1, would you have been very suspicious of physical abuse?
Yes.
Would you have reported that?
Yes, I would have.
And if you had seen injuries to a child, such as this, States Exhibit 80, would you have concerns for child physical abuse?
Yes.
And you would have reported that?
Yes, I would have.
And did you look, as part of your training, were you taught to look for certain types of injuries to a child?
You mean like bruising and
Correct, like in certain places on the body.
usually the buttocks was one of the places most.
And were you given any information about bruises to a child's face? If you should have any concern about
Like
those.
slap marks, you would see things like that.
So if you had seen what looked like a slap mark to one of the children, you would have reported that?
Yes, I would have.
And other than that date of August 2015, had you been at the Rosenbaum's house subsequent to that?
Had I been there before? Yes, I had.
After August of 2015, have you been to the Rosenbaum's house?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. So you weren't at the Rosenbaum's house on November 17 of 2015?
I think Jennifer had an ugly Christmas sweater party. I don't know what the date was for that. I'm sorry, I can't recall.
Were you at the Rosenbaum's house on the day that Laila died?
No,
Okay, so you have no information to give us as to what happened that
no.
day? Thank you. No further questions?
Ms. Davis, would it be, were the girls going anywhere after this party, or were the children going anywhere after?
Yes, they were going to Six Flags.
And-
All of them were, so I left because
And was that on August 29th, 2015?
I know it was in August, but I'm not sure of the date.
Okay, thank you.
No further questions?
All right. Ma'am, thank you. You can step down.
Thank you.
And your
Your name.
Kimberly Del Rosario, KimberlyDelRosario.
Ms. Del Rosario, what is your occupation at this point?
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Okay. And you yourself were a foster mom, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Okay. And tell me about your experience as a foster mom. How many children did you foster?
I had 44 children in 5.5 years.
And do you know Jennifer and Joseph Rosenbaum?
I do. I know Jennifer better than Joseph.
And how do you know Jennifer?
I was Jennifer's sister's foster mom for 5.5 years.
And which sister is this?
Summer.
And tell me, if you will, did you have occasion to go to the fall festival and see the girls there?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Tell me where that fall festival was held.
It was at Turning Point Church in McDonough.
And did you see any abused children in that group?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Have you had experience with abused children?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
How long?
Well, out of my foster children, most of my children were abused or neglected.
Okay. And do you know Laila's family?
Yes, ma'am, I know Laila's grandfather.
Have you spoken to them since this incident?
I spoke to her grandfather about a week after it happened.
Okay. How many times would you say you've seen Jennifer's foster daughters?
On about 5 different occasions.
And can you give us an idea of when that was?
I ran into them 2 or 3 times at Walmart and 2 or 3 times at Publix, and then the fall festival at Turning Point.
Okay. And did you at any point during those 5 times that you ran into the girls, did you see any bruises or marks on these children?
No, ma'am, I did not.
As a DFACS caseworker, were you a mandated reporter?
Well, as a foster parent, yes, ma'am, I was a mandated reporter.
Okay. Tell me, how did Jennifer react to the children and the children react to Jennifer?
Yeah, I loved her. They would hold on to her. They were happy. If I wouldn't have known it, I would have never known those weren't her kids.
And if you just bring the microphone a little closer to you, did either of the daughters appear to be afraid of Jennifer?
No, ma'am, they did not.
And how did Jennifer react towards them?
She was loving and happy and just doted on those girls.
And would you be here if you saw anything that concerned you, if you had seen anything that concerned you?
Would you repeat that?
Would you be here testifying if you had seen anything that concerned you?
No, ma'am.
As a mandated reporter, what would you have done if you had seen marks or bruises on these children?
Well, if I'd seen anything on them, then I would have had to call somebody and ask about it the same I would with any child.
Thank you, Ms. Del Rosario.
Ross.
You would agree that an abuser doesn't abuse a child in public.
Excuse me?
You would agree that an abuser, someone who's physically abusing a child, doesn't do that in front of other people.
I don't agree with that statement.
Do you
no,
think
ma'am.
people abuse children in public?
I believe some people do, yes, ma'am.
And so, do you believe that if a child had these types of injuries, they would be happy? You can turn around and see the State's Exhibit 80.
No, ma'am, I don't think they would be.
And you believe a child who had this type of injury, State's Exhibit 1, would be a happy child? You can turn around and look at them.
I don't know.
You don't know if a child with those injuries would be happy?
No, ma'am, I don't know. I've never been in that situation. I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know, okay. And you don't know anything about what happened in the Rosenbaum's home on November 17 of 2015, would you?
No, ma'am, I have no idea.
Had you seen these injuries in State's Exhibit 1? I know you said you don't know if that child would be happy, but would you have reported this as suspicion of child abuse?
Yes, ma'am, I would have.
You would have. Okay. And you fostered how many children? 44?
44, yes, ma'am.
And you don't know if a child with these type of bruises would be happy?
You know, that's kind of hard to say because I don't know what this child's feeling and I don't know what caused these or how much pain they're in.
But you would agree that a child with those injuries would be in pain?
I would think they would be, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. No further questions.
The girls you saw were happy?
Yes, ma'am, they were.
Were they running around?
At the festival, they were right there playing, sitting down, talking, having a good time. In the grocery store, they were in the grocery cart having a great time.
Did either of the girls favor their arms?
Not that I recall.
Any of them complain to you about anything?
No, ma'am, they did not.
Did they say they were in pain?
No, ma'am, they did not.
Thank you.
Ms. Rosario, are you aware that this is what Laila looked like on November 17 of 2015? That's her back.
No, ma'am, I was not.
Because you weren't there on November 17.
No, ma'am, I
You
wasn't.
saw her weeks before.
I saw her a couple weeks before, yes, ma'am.
But as you see here, Laila in this picture has injuries, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Same way as in State's Exhibit 80, this was how Millie appeared on November 17 of 2015. You aware of that?
I am now.
But before you got to court, you weren't aware of these injuries?
No, ma'am.
Were you aware that Millie had injuries to her arm on November 17 of 2015?
No, ma'am, I wasn't.
Were you aware that Millie had a broken arm on November 17 of 2015?
The last time I saw Millie was after the festival in Walmart, and I do not recall if she did or not. I did not notice it if she did.
Prior to coming here today, you have spoken with Jennifer and Joseph, correct?
I have spoken to Jennifer once or twice on text.
Okay. And you were never aware that these were the type of injuries the children had on November 17 of 2015?
No, ma'am.
So you weren't aware that Laila had injuries to her vaginal and groin area?
No, ma'am, I was not.
No further questions.
Did Ms. Jennifer discuss with you the subject of her court case?
No, ma'am, she did not.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Andrews?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You can step down.
Thank you.
My name's Charles Downey, Charles, Downey, Downy.
And what do you do for a living, Mr. Downey?
I'm retired
And what are you retired from?
from Fulton County government.
Were you an elected official there?
No.
So you were an employee at Fulton County?
Yes, I worked for the last 18 years. I worked for the clerk to the commissioners.
Do you know Jennifer Rosenbaum?
Yes.
How do you know her?
I met her somewhere around September 2014. We belonged to a coalition called Henry Community Coalition.
And what does that coalition do?
It was a non-profit, non-partisan organization that we worked on civic duties or civic projects and trying to make our county and cities better.
As you did that, worked with Jennifer on the commission, did you ever have occasion to see her foster children with her?
Yes.
And can you tell us on what occasions those were? Do you remember?
Yes, I saw them twice.
Okay. Do you have any idea about the dates? When you saw them?
They were around 2015, September 2015, give or take.
Okay, well, let me show you some documents and see if that refreshes your recollection. Does
Yes.
that help refresh your recollection?
Yes.
And when was the time you saw, one of the times you saw the girls?
I believe the first time I saw him was at an executive board meeting we had at the Henry County Library in a small room, meeting room.
And would that date be August 24th, 2015?
That sounds correct.
And how did the girls look?
They look normal.
Okay. Were they well behaved?
Oh, extremely so.
Okay. Did they appear happy?
Yes.
And did you notice any bruises, injuries, or marks on them?
No, I didn't.
You had previously mentioned to me that the youngest of the two children had an accident in the library. Is that right?
Correct.
And tell me what happened when that occurred.
Well, Jennifer took her, I assume, to the restroom.
And then when they came back, where did the little girl sit?
In Jennifer's lap.
Was there any crying?
Well, maybe a little bit. The girl was hugging Jennifer.
Okay, but did you hear any yelling?
No yelling.
And she sat in Jennifer's lap?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Downey.
You're welcome.
Cross.
Good afternoon, Mr. Downey. My name is Mary Andrews. I just have a few questions for you.
Sure.
You indicated that you saw the girls twice.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I know we talked about August 24th, 2015. And what was the second time you saw them?
It was at a board of commissioners meeting.
And when was that?
Has to be sometime in 2015, I would think. I don't remember the exact date.
Well, let me ask you this. The time you saw the girls on August 24th, 2015, was that the first time you saw them or the second?
Best I can remember was the first time.
So then the commissioner meeting would have been in September of 2015?
I'm not sure. It would have been after August.
Okay. And at these commissioner or these coalition meetings, I understand that one of the purposes is to make the county and cities better.
Yes, was our objective.
Okay.
Yes.
And you would agree that you don't want child abusers in your community?
Yes.
And have you ever been to the Rosenbaum home?
No.
And do you have any information for us as to what happened to Laila Daniel on November 17 of 2015?
Only what I read in the papers. That's all I know.
So you have no information as to what happened to Laila and Millie while they were in the home of the Rosenbaums?
No, I don't.
And you wouldn't expect an abuser to abuse a child in public, would you?
No.
Thank you. No more questions.
Ms. Paul.
Mr. Brown, would it help your recollection about that Henry County board meeting if I showed you a document? Would it help refresh your recollection as to the second time you saw the girls?
Yes, I guess it would.
Do you have your memory refreshed at this point? Do you have an idea of when that Henry County meeting was?
The one you just showed me?
Yes.
September 28th,
And,
2015.
and that was the second time that you saw the girls?
I don't remember the girls being there, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Did you say you saw them after the meeting?
After that meeting,
Yes.
I don't recall seeing them.
You've told us here today that you saw them twice, correct?
That's what I remember.
Okay. And the first time was
Was at the
about
board,
the October,
was at the August meeting.
the August meeting, and you don't remember the second time?
I believe the second time was at the Board of Commissioners meeting.
Okay.
Huh.
And the Board of Commissioners meeting would have been on what date, do you know?
I don't remember.
And this, what I showed you, did not refresh your recollection.
I don't remember seeing them there. They could have been there, but I don't remember.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. You can
Thank
step
you.
down.
State for us your name and spell it as well.
Okay, my name is Cindy Dunlap, Cindy. Last name is Dunlap, Dunlap.
And Ms. Dunlap, how, if at all, do you know Joseph and Jennifer Rosenbaum?
I met Jennifer with my husband when she was running for commission, for a seat on the commission chair in Henry County.
And this would have been what year, do you know?
No. I don't know what year it was.
Do you recall seeing the girls at on any occasion?
Yes.
Foster daughters.
Yes.
And when would that have been? Do you know in what occasion?
We saw the girls at the Shining Light Ministries Low Country Boil at Willowick Farms.
At Willowick Farms? How do you spell that, Willowick?
I believe it would be WILLOWICK
Okay.
Farms.
And let me show you what I've marked as defendants 72, 73, and 74. See if you could you identify these pictures?
Certainly. Yes, ma'am. That's the girls that night.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, at this time I would tender 72, 73, and 74 into evidence and ask that I be permitted to publish them.
No objection.
Admit it to be published.
Could get the lights. Is this a picture of the girls as you saw them?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And what were they like, the girls? What were they doing?
They were pleasant. They were attentive. It was an event for families. There was a children's area. When they got there, my daughter was actually with us, and they went to the children's area with my daughter for a few minutes when we were talking to Joseph and Jennifer. They were pleasant, I would say normal acting children who were in a large crowd of people. They were hugging close to Jennifer. And then they met us and were polite to my husband and I.
And would the date, September 18th, 2015, be the date that this Willowick Farm event occurred?
That sounds about right. I don't remember the exact date, but it was in the fall.
Okay. And can you identify this picture for us?
Yes, ma'am. There was a live, they had live music and a an area set up for people to talk, and awards and things going on. The girls were dancing around when the music was playing.
Let me show you this picture. What does that depict?
There were tables set up. It was a low country boil, so there was, as you can imagine, shrimp, sausage, corn, potatoes, everything. This is obviously the girls are sitting there eating and having food at the tables.
Is there anything abnormal about these children?
Oh no, ma'am. They were perfectly polite. They were as cute as could be.
Did they, you see any marks or bruises on them?
I did not.
Any signs of abuse at all?
I did not see any, no ma'am.
And how was Jennifer reacting towards or acting towards the girls?
Jennifer was very polite. Jennifer talked to them she was talking to them like a normal mother would. Like I said, she introduced us to the girls. We had actually that's the first time we had met the girls. And my daughter, who was a college age student at the time, offered to take them over to the children's area, and they were fine with that since they were talking to us, and she did, and the girls went willingly with her.
Jennifer allowed them to go with them?
Yes, she did.
So, all in all, it was a unnoteworthy event.
That is correct. It was not noteworthy at all.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Ross?
Good afternoon, Ms. Dunlap. My name is Myrna Andrews, and I have a few questions for you.
Certainly.
You indicated that you first met Jennifer Rosenbaum when she was running for a seat on the commission.
I did.
And so generally when people are running for public office, they want to put their best face forward. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
You want to show, the positive things about you as a person running for office.
I agree with that.
And then you indicated that first time you met the girls was September 18 at the Low Country Boil. Is that correct?
That is true.
And was that the only time that you met the girls?
I believe so.
And if I understood your testimony correctly, you stated that they were polite.
They were.
And I believe you said that they were hugging on Jennifer. Is that correct?
Yeah, they were typical young children in an atmosphere that was a large crowd. They were standing next to her right very close. As the introductions were done, they warmed up as they got to know that we knew their parents.
And you have no background or expertise in the area of forensic interviewing, process of disclosure, and child abuse, do you?
I do not.
So you're not aware that children have conflicted feelings towards their abusers. They can show love for them, but also dislike what's happening to them.
I have no training.
And you're also not an expert in child abuse pediatrics either.
I am not an expert, no.
Now, were you aware that September 18 of 2015 is nowhere in the indictment for which we're in court for today?
I'm not aware of anything, no.
And so you have no information to give us as to the actual dates in the indictment?
I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Any objections for this being excused? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Can you please say your name for the jury and spell?
Detective Joseph Mehar, last name is Maher.
And Detective Mehar, you previously testified about some things that you did as a detective in this case, correct?
Yes.
And one of the things you testified about was what Jennifer did, what Jennifer told you. And she told you that when she got up when the child was flailing and seemed to be in distress, she did apply the Heimlich maneuver, didn't she?
I can't testify to that. She didn't talk to me.
She didn't talk to you at all?
No,
She didn't say anything?
not to me directly.
Okay. You, however, called Spalding County CI, did you not?
Called who?
Called Spalding County Correctional Institution.
Yes.
In the course of your detective work on this case, you called Spalding County Institution.
Yes.
And what was the purpose for doing that?
Verified Mr. Rosenbaum's employment or working hours.
And were you able to do that?
Yes.
And what were his working hours?
I don't recall off the top of my head. If I could refer to my notes.
Certainly.
With reference to the day of the incident.
Exactly.
Okay. 11/17/2015, I made contact with Warden Humphrey. Stated Mr. Rosenbaum arrived at 17:45 hours and left at 18:17 hours.
What time would that have been in civilian time that he arrived?
5:45 p.m. and left at 6:17 p.m.
And that would be arrive and leaving Spalding County CI.
That's correct.
Thank you, Officer Mehar.
Mayor, do you have any idea how long it takes to drive?
Being familiar with the area, I can guess, but I could not give you approximate.
What would your estimate be?
I would object to an estimate, to a guess. We're not here about guesses.
Well, I've heard that he's familiar with the area, and I've also heard that it's a guess.
Are you familiar, if I can ask a couple,
Yes.
clarifying question, are you familiar enough to give us an educated estimate?
Yes,
And then what would that be?
around 30 minutes.
Nothing further.
Oh, correction, sorry. That'd be from maybe 45 to their location.
45 in their location?
From their residence to there.
Thank you, nothing further.
I have no further questions.
All right, thank you. You can stay there.
Does this satisfy my subpoena? Yes. Okay.
My name is Don Dunlap, Dondunlap.
And Mr. Dunlap, how do you know Jennifer Rosenbaum?
Friends.
And how did you come to get to know them as friends?
We started out, we're very similar in our viewpoints on things from a conservative standpoint. We participated in a lot of different political forums, saw things a lot the same. Sometimes we didn't, but we had pretty similar views. I got to know her a little bit better when she started, announced she was going to run for District 1 Commissioner. So I went and met with her to find out about her platform and what she felt like. We got to know each other better after that.
And where did you meet her?
Physically,
Yes.
I don't remember the name of the Mexican restaurant next to Publix on 81.
Okay, so it's at a Mexican restaurant next to Publix, at Highway 81.
Highway 81, yes ma'am.
And was she alone, or did she have the girls with her?
At that time she was alone.
Okay. Did you subsequently have a chance to meet the girls?
Yes ma'am.
And was that at Willowick Farms?
Yes ma'am.
And were you and your wife there?
We were.
Did you have any other occasion to meet the girls?
No ma'am.
Did you see any bruising on the girls of any sort?
No ma'am.
Thank you. I have nothing.
Just one question, Mr. Dunlap. Would you agree that it's possible that someone with similar viewpoints such as yours could be a child abuser?
If they have viewpoints similar to mine, no ma'am.
You don't believe that? So everyone whose viewpoints such as yours cannot be a child abuser. That's your testimony here today?
My viewpoint is that child abuse is awful, and
that's
people that share my viewpoint obviously wouldn't be child abusers.
Okay, so that's what you meant when you
Yes,
said
ma'am.
viewpoints. Okay. So you believe that child abuse is awful. That was the viewpoint you were talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. And so, were you aware that on November 17 of 2015, or Jennifer Rosenbaum, in her interview to detectives, told the detectives that the only two people who cared for Millie and Laila in the 2 weeks prior to Laila's death were Jennifer and Joseph. Were you aware of that?
I was not.
You weren't aware that Jennifer said she and Joseph were the only two people that cared for those girls in the 2 weeks prior to Laila's death?
No.
Okay. And were you aware that the Dr. Darizao testified that Laila had old and new bruises to her body?
No.
Okay. Were you aware that some of those bruises, according to Dr. Darizao, were within hours of her death, or an hour prior to her death at a maximum?
No.
And the older injuries were maybe 72 hours or more older than that?
No.
Okay. And were you aware that Millie also had bruising to her?
No, ma'am.
And according to the testimony so far, the two people that were around these children during that time period was Jennifer and Joseph. Were you aware of that?
No.
And now knowing that, would that change your opinion as to whether Jennifer's a friend?
He was not asked his opinion. He was a fact witness. He's not an opinion.
He testified that they were friends.
Still doesn't mean that.
Sustain the objection.
So you really don't have any information as to what the case is about in court today?
I'm aware that there's a young person that died.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And you have no information to give us as to what happened on November 17 of 2015?
What I can say is that I saw Jennifer and her kids, that I didn't see any kind of bruising or marks, and if I had, I would have had to immediately report it. Because of my day job as a teacher, we have to immediately report any suspected child abuse.
And so the time you saw them was the same time your wife saw them at the Low Country Bowl on September 18th?
Yes, ma'am.
And had you seen a child with injuries as the state's Exhibit 1, would you have reported that as child abuse?
Yes, ma'am.
If you saw a child with injuries in the state's Exhibit 80, would you have reported that as child abuse?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you saw a child with injuries such as those in the state's Exhibit 54, would you have reported that as child abuse?
Yes, ma'am.
Those are all the questions I have.
And
They told you they'd be 10 minutes away,
they
and now
said
they're 30 minutes
earlier-
away.
They said yesterday that if we would let them leave and go back to the police department, they could be here in 10 minutes. And they're now saying it's more like 30 or 40 minutes.
Okay, is there anybody else that you can call?
There isn't, Your Honor. Everybody is, they're on call, and everybody has got reasons why they can't get here before 5 o'clock. I'm scrambling. I have an investigator calling now, and he's doing calls.
Well, it's a little after 4. You said you had an investigator who's calling. At what point will you know whether or not you can get another witness on the stand before 5 o'clock?
In the next 5 minutes, and we're just serially calling people until we reach somebody who will say that they're within 10 minutes of being here.
Oh, and you're calling it.
Everybody.
And everybody is a number of more than 5 people?
Yes.
So you're asking that I wait for 5 minutes before you make a little bit of an update?
Yes, Robert.
Okay. I'll wait 5 minutes.
Meanwhile, could we just do a bit of housekeeping while we're waiting?
Yes.
With regards to Defendant's Exhibit 75, that has already been used, and so we would like to change that to Defendant's Exhibit 137.
No objection.
State agrees.
And with regards to Defendant's Exhibit 73, we would like to change that to, that also has been used, we would like to change that to 138.
No objection.
Objection. And the court reporter has that? All right.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go ahead and make our changes part of the record, and they'll come get me in a few minutes.
Okay.
Please tell the sheriff's deputy when you're ready.
I was.
Maybe you could just pop your head into the jury room and let them know it'll be another 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you take a seat and give us your name and then spell it.
Okay. Detective David Lacroix, last name is spelled Lecroy.
Detective Lacroix, I just wanted to take you back to November 23rd, 2015. Did you have occasion to do a canvass of the Rosenbaum's neighborhood?
I did.
Can you explain to the jury what is a canvass?
Neighborhood canvas is we go into the neighborhood wherever the incident location as far as what we're investigating occurred in, and we talk with neighbors.
Can you slow down just a little bit?
I apologize.
Very fast.
As we go into the neighborhood as far as wherever an incident occurred, and we talk with neighbors that are there to see if we can get an idea as far as have they seen anything suspicious in the near the incident location, anything suspicious that they had seen involving people possibly living at the incident location, any information they can provide that can kind of point us in a direction of where we might need to be looking within an investigation.
Did you have occasion to talk to Mr. Craig Rosar?
I did.
And where does he live in relationship to the Rosenbaums?
If I remember correctly, Mr. Rosar was a next door neighbor if you're facing them to the right, I believe.
And did Mr. Rosar ever say he saw the children outside? Did you talk to anybody else besides Mr. Rosar?
One by the name of Miss Lori Moses.
Okay, and did you get any indication from your canvass that anybody had seen or heard anything?
No, ma'am.
Detective LaCroix, did you talk to anyone else in the subdivision?
Besides the two subjects that were listed, I do not recall speaking with anyone else.
See if this refreshes your recollection.
Okay.
Let's refresh your recollection.
Okay, yes. All right, I do, excuse me, I do remember that now. There was another neighbor that was actually the vice president of the homeowners association that did answer the door, yes.
Okay. So you did not receive any information that sent you in any direction?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any questions for him?
No questions, Your Honor.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Step down and the witness be excused.
Yes, sir.
All right, and you're excused from the scheme. All right, that's everybody.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Muller, we really want to fill each day right to 5 o'clock.
Have everybody here tomorrow.
And plan is so we'll have a few leftovers at the end of the day so that we'll go a little faster than you would expect and we'll be here until 5. That's, of course, out of respect for the jurors and the jury. Is there anything else before we break? Anything from the state? I'm in the process of working on the charge. If there are any updates that you have at any point to the list that you've submitted previously, please let me know.
I think technically we asked for the calendars to be taken by judicial notice. I don't know if we really need that had a charge or not.
I have that instruction.
Okay.
Thank you. And of course, nothing I'm saying now replaces the charge conference that we'll have at the ordinary time. I'm just looking for as much notice as I can so that we can get the charge back done as quickly as possible so that we don't have a big gap between the time that you have the charge conference and you can get into your closing arguments. Another housekeeping matter I just want to sort of delve into a little bit is, can you give me an approximate length of time that you anticipate that the events will run? If that's not possible, if you're not comfortable giving me a reasonable approximation, then I understand. But just for the purposes of kind of planning the amount of time that we have to put this charge together.
I'm thinking we will rest on middle of the day Thursday.
Middle of the day Thursday, that's helpful, thank you. It's especially helpful given that we've had a little bit of a cyber incident here locally and we're having to recover from that. So thank you all and have a nice night.
Well, today it is the defense's turn to bring up witnesses to testify on Jennifer and Joseph Rosenbaum's behalf.
You know, the couple accused of abusing and murdering their foster child, 2-year-old Laila Daniel, in 2015. It's a story we've been on top of from the very beginning. Ayanna Crystal has been in the courtroom every day, joining us live from Henry County right now. And Ayanna, the defense trying to paint a picture of the couple today.
Well, they're trying to paint the picture that the couple were not abusers, yet most of the witnesses didn't even know the couple except for very brief interactions. Now, the defense called up more than 15 witnesses to the stand, and only one truly knew the couple, and that was Joseph Rosenbaum's mother. She took the stand and said that the couple were good parents.
Joseph is not the type of person. I don't believe Jen is either, so you could tell me all day long, I'll never believe it.
Joseph Rosenbaum's mother, Mary, broke down crying when talking about Laila Daniel's death. The 2-year-old and her older sister were in foster care in the Rosenbaum house for 4 months in 2015. On November 17th, Jennifer Rosenbaum called 911 claiming Laila had choked on chicken. By the time emergency personnel arrived to their McDonough home, the 2-year-old was dead. The death became suspicious when fire crews, nurses, and doctors all noticed the extensive bruising on Laila's body. The medical examiner said Laila did not die from choking. In fact, she died from internal bleeding from blunt force traumas to her abdomen. Today, when Joseph's mother took the stand, she said she doesn't believe the couple abused the girls.
They love Jen and Joseph. And Jen and Joseph are good parents. I have not seen bruises on Laila or Millie.
Are you aware that Millie is a victim in this case as well?
I wasn't aware, but I guess I am now.
Did you know that Millie had a broken arm?
No.
Does that concern you at all?
Yes, it does.
Most of the testimony today was very short. In fact, one of Jennifer Rosenbaum's former acquaintances had to be subpoenaed to come in to testify after she cut off all communication with Jennifer after Laila's death. Now, none of the witnesses noticed any of the bruises.